Alright, what's going on, guys? So, you see the title, you see what I'm doing here. I'm obviously not going to remake an entire album in one video, but I chose 3 very different songs from Iceman to remake the beats for in my own style. So the songs that I chose are Make Them Cry, kind of your classic Drake vibe, moody synths and vocals and stuff like that. Second one I chose was Janice, more modern, synth driven, but in a different way, right? Like totally different vibes, a little bit more hard hitting, anthemic, whatever you want to call it. And then the last one is Firm Friends. So again, totally different from the other 2, your classic soul, boom bap, Conductor Williams style song. So 3 very different beats that I'm going to try to make my own versions of and kind of match those vibes using only one pack. So every sound that you hear in this video is going to be coming from one multi-kit, Square One Shots multi-kit volume 2. It's a kit that I did with my guy Jocko from Square One, and vocals from Aya are included. And I'm going to be using very minimal effects plugins. Anything that's really going to affect the sound, I'm only going to use effect rack presets that are also included in the kit. So let's jump in and work on Make Them Cry. So like I said, Make Them Cry is kind of your classic moody, melodic Drake vibe. So I'm going to go through this loops and starters folder. There's almost 181 loops and starters in this folder. I'm going to go through here and see what I can find that, you know, maybe has a nice progression to it that would fit a Drake vibe. I think I'll start with that. All right, so I just dragged that in and chopped it into its biggest pieces and stretched it to tempo. So now I'm going to grab a couple one shots and figure out what my chord progression is. All right, so here's my chord progression with 2 different one shots from the pack. So this first one shot is just a kind of just a smooth pad. And I have that going to the effect rack with this very nice preset from the pack. For the second one shot here, the P6 jumper, this is a pretty cool one shot. It's recorded from my Prophet 6, and what I did was I hit a note and then hit a couple different octaves of the note the longer you hold the note down. Kind of hard to explain, but I'll just hold the middle C so you can hear what it's doing. So when a bunch of them play together, you hear all of those different notes playing. Sounds like there's a lot more going on than just your basic triad chord with a bass note underneath. And on that one, I have the same very nice preset from Effect Rack. All right, so the next step that I took here, I decided to manipulate this original piano chord progression into something that's a little different. I chopped it on the 4s like that, and I double timed it twice. So it's playing 4 times as fast as it originally was, and then I reversed it, and now I have kind of like a call and response going on between when the synth chords hit and when that piano plays. And and that's running through this preset that I really love called Alternate. The mix is at less than half, so it's not doing a ton, but this is a really cool preset. And then it's just got some EQ and some reverb. All right, next, of course, we need a bass. I chose just one of the clean bass one-shots and put down a basic bass line. And that has no effects on it. That's just the raw one shot. Being a classic Drake vibe, we gotta have some vocals in there. Here are some vocals from the pack that I've kind of chopped up and arranged to fit this project. So kind of your classic Drake vibe, right? Just really nice vocals in the back. They're not really saying anything, just a bunch of runs. There are some vocal takes in there that actually have some lyrics to them. There's some group vocal stuff in there, but I felt like this one just needed the runs. It didn't need to distract from the bars. For the effects on that, we have an EQ, a compressor, a reverb, a pancake to get it to pan left and right, and then we have our effect rack. And this is just an echo boy. There's actually not anything that's really changing the sound of the vocal. I think one more thing that a Drake song needs, it's felt like he hasn't done this in a while, but a nice 40 style synth lead. So for this B section, everything stays the same. I just have the vocals drop out and I have this Prophet 6 lead sound come in. All we have on that is an EQ and kind of a double delay going on here in the effect rack. So again, not a whole lot. These sounds are pretty much raw. All right, so the last step is to just drum this up. I pretty much always do my drums in Machine. You can see that these are all from the pack. Everything in the pack ends with Zulu Jocko, so these are all sounds from the pack. And here is the drum pattern that I came up with. Pretty simple, typical Drake style drums on here. Now let's throw his vocal on there and see how it all sounds together.
I'm an only child, no one could have made another. I have to father my mother and treat my son's grandfather like my older brother. The skies are gray in Toronto, they not a golden color. I'm feeling like BTS, cause it took the whole career for me to be so discovered. I know for sure that my parents, they look at me and see an overcomer. I'm looking back at them and these days I see an older couple. I see my only uncle looking like this shit that I ain't owning up to. And if he said the way he really felt, I'd probably see his side because I'm old enough to. I'm looking at all my niggas, they say, bro, we love you. But all my words really the shit that they be going up to. Feel like 40 won't even listen to my words when he knows I'm in a load of trouble. I'm in a cut just look.
I think that matches the original vibe of the song. His vocal sounds pretty good on it. It doesn't sound like the beat is doing too much. It sounds like a sound selection that he would choose, right? I think it works. All right, one down. Let's get to the next one. Let's go do Janice. All right, so for Janice, we're obviously looking for a more modern synth vibe. So I'm going to start in the textures and phrases pack. There's a ton of cool stuff in here. All right, so here's what I ended up with. 3 different textures that I've kind of arranged and pitched. Here is what they sound like. If you can just put hard trap drums over that and call it a day. We have an EQ. We have this being pitched up an octave. Another EQ decapitator, which is giving it some distortion, but that's within effect rack, so that's okay. Then a reverb. So just a little bit of extra stuff going on to make them sound good, sit together. And so that's kind of our basic starting point. I think after that, I'm going to be looking for a synth bass. Iceman was pretty bass driven rather than 808. All right, so I'm using a Prophet 6 sub bass. I'll play it for you here. Really nice, a lot of sub, but also still kind of that high end in there too. So here's what the bass sounds like with those textures. I ended up going with kind of a progression on this one rather than just keeping it stagnant. I think it ends up sounding nice. Then I decided to add a second bass sound, this wow bass sound. I have it tucked down in the mix a little bit more, but you can still hear it. Now, to complement the bass line, I'm going to add some chords in there. So we'll have sections where just the bass is playing and then have the chords come in to really give it more of a melodic feel. And that is just another Prophet 6 one-shot. We have, again, the very nice preset. I guess I was right in naming that. It's very nice. I use it a lot. And then we have EQ. And then to add the top line melody that you can follow, I actually used that same Prophet 6 sub one-shot and went several octaves higher and made a lead. On this one, we have a lead distortion preset on, and then we just have some reverb. Again, I did the drums in Machine, very simple 2-bar pattern here, and I tried to add some kind of unorthodox snares and some perks as snares, some hi-hats as snares, and I came up with a pretty cool pattern. Kind of boring, but in the context of the whole beat, it sounds pretty good. Now by itself, it kind of sounds like it would fit Don Toliver or Travis better than Drake, but let's put the vocal on there and see how it sounds.
Miliana, it's been so long since you texted me. I finally took a break and now I feel like I'm on ecstasy. You said what my work means to me will one day be the death of me. They tried to kill me once, but darling, you just resurrected me. Reach me, baby. Call my phone and say you need me, baby. I'm so clean, you gotta teach me, baby. From Vancouver, you a BC, baby. Pull up, play back, beep, beep, baby. And my came with the heat seats, baby. Swear my label gotta free me, baby. Blow on me just like some green tea, baby. Hey, hey.
Alright, so that's Janice down. We have Make Them Cry and Janice, two totally different sounds. Let's go see if we can do Firm Friends. Alright, Firm Friends. Classic, soulful, boom bap. We've had two that have been pretty heavily synth-based. Let's see now if we can do a more soulful, organic type of sample. So one folder that we haven't been into yet is the MIDIs folder. There's a wave of each of the MIDIs as an example, so let's listen through some of them and we'll pick which one we think would work well. Okay, so here's the one I went with. I went ahead and just pulled the audio right in. So if you don't have a good piano VST that you like, you can just pull these in and use the audio file too. So that's what I did in this case. I think the whole Firm Friends sample is like just a piano, a vocal, and a bass. So that's what I'm going to try to recreate here. I'm going to go back into that vocal folder. All right, so I pulled in some vocals and chopped them up to fit. Here's what they sound like. As for the effects, we have an EQ, a compressor, and some reverb. Nothing crazy going on this. We want everything to sound pretty authentic and natural on this. So now just need a bass line. For the bass sound, I chose the electric bass and just added a little bit of EQ taken off the top end. Now, one thing that's cool about the MIDI files is obviously you can change the MIDIs to your liking, but in this case, since I used the audio recording, I just pulled the MIDI file in on the bass track and deleted everything except for the bass notes. I didn't even really have to try to figure out what the bass line was. I had the MIDI to do it for me. For the drums, I think it's best to just keep it simple. Go for that conductor feel. There's just a kick and a snare. That's it. You can already hear Drake rapping on that. But let's go ahead and put the vocals on for the real test.
You think I didn't see that you stayed silent? That's like you endorsing it all. May as well stand behind them. I stood beside you, thought there was some good inside you. Situations like these, they force you to notice the difference. Look at me and Neeks, for instance. We know we live different lives and we've been on our separate missions. Look at how time flies. 20 years past, he's still the same guy. But I get it, you all wanna be the main guy.
It works. This whole beat was a total of 5 sounds, and I didn't even really have to think or figure anything out on this one, and it sounds like it could be a Drake song. So there you have it, 3 completely different style Drake beats, all made 100% with sounds from a single kit. The kit is on sale now over on Drum Broker. Go grab it and cook up some fire.